internal exams did, that they were completely clean. So I am the only Member of Parliament in this current problem that has not been fingered by the Telegraph. And Andy Porter confirmed this to other journalists, and it was reported extensively on Sky and BBC on the day. The sole reason this has come to light is because I voluntarily submitted my allowance claims to this internal examination. And now, very briefly, the last fact, to turn to the actual second home allowance and what went wrong. Most of you will know that I am married to Julie Kirkbride, who is the Member of Parliament for Bromsgrove. And not long after we married, I went to the then head of the fees office in the House of Commons and said, I require your advice on what I should do about my second home allowance, and for that matter, what Julie should do as well. He asked me our housing arrangements, which were the same as they are now. There's been no flipping, no changing, no new mortgages, but 2 family homes, one near the House of Commons in Westminster, where we work during the week, and one in Julie's constituency in the West Midlands, near to where I was born and brought up, and have many family links. And he then gave us the advice of what we did. We've done it ever since. And I would just add that very regularly we submit to the fees office the address of our main residence and the address of our second home. And every month, when both of us separately make our allowance claim, there's an element on the form, rightly so, which puts the address of the second home. So I've been absolutely transparent. Not only did I take the advice, I didn't come with an idea. I asked for advice, accepted the advice, implemented the advice, and transparently continued to actually fill in the forms correctly with the addresses. And at no point did anybody say, this is wrong. Nobody said, should you be doing this? Now, I made a serious error of judgment. I should have looked at it more carefully, and I should have said, does this stand the test of reasonableness? And I did not. And if I had, you wouldn't be here tonight, and I would not be here tonight. And that is why I resigned as David's advisor. So I'd just like to conclude by saying this. It has been my life's work to represent this constituency. Coming up next month for 26 years. I hope when the time comes, you will judge me both on what has happened, for which I've apologised, but I've held my hands up the moment it was brought to my attention, but also on the work I have done in this constituency during that time. And to that end, I have informed my Bracknell Conservative Association that I do not accept that my re-adoption as the Conservative candidate for the next election, which took place some 18 months ago, is satisfactory. And I have said that I insist on submitting myself to them again for full cross-examination by all the members of the local party, and then they will make a decision as to whether they wish me to be the Conservative candidate at the next election, which I would like to be because I love the job and I love working here, or whether they think it would be right to have a new candidate. And if they select me, then it will be up to you and another 80,000 like you to judge me on my record and decide whether to vote for me or not. as the Member of Parliament after the next general election. I'd be very happy to take any questions and comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a number of people with their hands in the air. If I could take the gentleman here first, and if I could take the gentleman on the front row down here, please, so we're ready. And we are going to finish soon after 8 o'clock, but so we give ourselves a good time to do this. And if you could be ready to come to the microphone or find the microphone when you are acknowledged, and put your question or your comment, and we'll take as many as we possibly can. So,
thank you very much indeed, Mr. Chairman. Can I refer to the letter which was in the Bracknell News this week? I'm sure it must be probably the most important letter Mr. Mackay has written in his political career, and he probably spent a long time weighing every single word and phrase. Can I read the second paragraph? I therefore want to apologise for any distress or anger caused by my resignation at David Cameron's senior aid last week, when I felt that my second home arrangements, although implemented after advice from the Commons Fees Office, could lead to subsequent questions of judgment. You may have apologised, Mr. Mackay, but the apology there is for the distress and anger caused by your resignation as David Cameron's senior aide. I would hazard a guess that much of the anger and distress in the constituency is the fact that you have claimed the thick end of £250,000 worth of second home allowances. You then go on, to say, although implemented after advice from the Commons Fees Office. Again, you don't accept personal responsibility. You are saying, I was merely following orders. I don't think many people will believe that that is acceptable. By saying, where we are, second paragraph, could lead to questions of judgment. I think it does lead. I don't think it's a matter of could. The letter, at no point does it say, I am sorry for claiming tens of thousands of pounds of second home allowance, when in fact I did not have a second home as such because my wife was claiming the other way around. I really think that the letter does not stand up, and this must have been a letter which was very, very well thought out, and every word and phrase carefully considered, and yet it still fails to actually address the issue, which is why everybody is here tonight. You have claimed thousands of pounds in a second home's allowance, which I think most people in this room will feel you were not entitled to, and that letter does not address it.
Thank you very much.
Well, to answer the question straightforwardly, I think that much of what you've read out is very similar to what I have said tonight. I've been trying to be completely consistent, and so I don't see the interest for me to repeat all the things that I've said before. But just to say one thing, there might have been an ambiguity in the way that was phrased, but I might have thought there was anger and distress that I was no longer David Cameron's advisor. I was, of course, referring very clearly to the events, not the actual effect. And I well acknowledge that there is anger and upset, and that's what I've apologised for tonight.
So the gentleman at the top, please.
Mr Mackay, I'm a local constituent. My name's Mark Thompson. I help run a local weblog called Bracknell Blog, and we asked for questions for people who couldn't make it tonight. So there's a couple I'd like to ask from that, and then I have one of my own, if that's okay, Mr Chairman.
If you could be brief.
I will do. Okay, the first one is, Mr Mackay, can you please explain to me and the people you serve why you should continue to serve in office as our MP? How can you ever be trusted again to do the right thing and in a moral way? With council tax bills rising again, the economy in real trouble, people losing their jobs, and quite frankly, the redevelopment of Bracknell is a joke. Please tell me why you should keep your job. I, for one, will not vote Conservative for you if you are the candidate. That's the first one. The second one is, given that you now accept it was morally wrong for both you and your wife to claim the second home allowance for the past 8 years, will you immediately reimburse the taxpayer for the total amount which the person states expects? Which the person states has over £125,000.